What's up, Vorthoses out there? We just had our first panel at the Mythic Invitational. We got our first 17 spoilers. So I just wanted to go over some of the key highlights from the panel, and then we're going to go straight to the cards. So the show began, it started off with some technical difficulties this morning during the Twitch stream. It started at 7:43 instead of 7:30 or 10:30 if you're on the East Coast. So 13 minutes late. And then when it did start, they showed this awesome trailer. When the trailer began, there was no sound. In fact, during the first showing of the trailer, there was no sound at all. The sound didn't actually kick in until Jimmy started talking. And I'm going to provide the link to the trailer below so you can watch it in all of its glory yourself. But we see in the trailer, we see Liliana walking with some Eternals. Bolus is poised on top of an archway, watching his handiwork unfold. And Liliana is leading this army of Eternals through the city, just wrecking everything. We see her making eye contact with this woman who's running with her son, trying to get out of the calamity that's ensuing. And Liliana gets overcome with emotion when she looks over and sees that the woman has been killed. Her and her son are buried under a pile of rocks. All you can see is the woman's arm, like dangling out of the pile. So that infuriates Lily, and we see this character development, this path that they've been going with Lily for the last few stories, few sets, really beginning in like Kaladesh to show us that Lily's becoming a different person. We see her become that person, and she decides at that moment that she's going to lead these Eternals against Bolus instead of against the city of Ravnica and the rest of the planeswalkers that are there. So we see her turn around, and as she turns around, we see her hand glow up with energy, and the Eternals stop what they're doing, and they look at Bolus, and they're like, "We're coming for you, mother effer." So they start going towards Bolus, and Bolus is like, "Liliana," and you just see her like becoming inflamed, like she's burning away. So we're left with that image of Liliana burning away. But of course we know she doesn't die. Production on the trailer came up a lot. Like it looks like they were going for a full-fledged like actual MMO game. Like that's what we were getting, was the trailer for a game or some kind of animated movie. Top notch. The music, which I'm glad I went back and watched the trailer again, because the music is actually Linkin Park in the end, like a redone version of it that fits so well with what's going on the screen, because you can just see Liliana saying, "You know what? It doesn't matter anyway. This is it. This is the end of everything. Let's do what we have to do." And I love Liliana. So first we have the swamp here. Then we have the forest, obviously. Our island. And our mountain. If you want to pause them and go back and look at them. We got Invade the City. We got a sorcery for Izzet and 1. So this amass mechanic is basically building your Eternal army. Then we have Liliana, Dreadhorde General. 2 black, 4 of any other, legendary Planeswalker Liliana. So the Planeswalkers in this set are going to have static abilities, which I think is awesome. So that way your Planeswalker can act as an enchantment if for whatever reason you're unable to use any of its loyalty abilities. You still have basically an enchantment sitting there. But for Liliana, whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. Then we have our +1, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. I have been waiting for this on the Liliana. A +1, create a zombie, protect her. Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge. So this was the buy box promo that we had the leak for. We didn't get the art. All we got was Tezzeret Master in the title, but we now have our official buy box promo. It's going to be Dimir and 4 of any other. Creature and Planeswalker spells you cast have affinity for artifacts. So that means they're going to cost 1 colorless less for each artifact. His +2 ability deals X to each opponent, where X is the number of artifacts you control, and then you gain that much life, which is awesome. Return target artifact from your graveyard to your hand. That's his -3 ability. And then finally, his neg 8, exile the top 10 cards of your library. Put all artifact cards from among them onto the battlefield. We have the Dreadhorde Invasion. It's an enchantment. It only costs 1 black and 1 of any. I'm always cautious of enchantments that cost so cheap because usually they can have some pretty devastating effects in the late game. For this one, at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and you amass 1. So it's very similar to Bitter Blossom in that effect, except you don't get multiple creatures each time. Like with Bitter Blossom, you get 1 creature each turn, and those creatures, they're 1/1s with flying. With Amass, you're only going to get the counters on that creature. I mean, if you do already have the zombie army, you're going to get counters on that creature. If you don't have the army because you chump blocked or you sacked it to something else, then you get that 1. And then whenever a zombie token you control with power 6 or greater attacks, it gets lifelink until the end of turn. Arguably better. We have Vraska, Swarm's Eminence. Hybrid mana for her. Legendary Planeswalker Vraska. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a player or on that creature. And then she only has a neg ability. It's neg 2, create a 1/1 black assassin creature token with Death Touch. And whenever this creature deals damage to a planeswalker, destroy that planeswalker. What I love is that with those creatures you make, just aim for the planeswalkers. And then they're going to try to protect their planeswalkers every time. So you're guaranteed for every attack almost, either getting rid of a creature or getting rid of a planeswalker. And then we have a Johnny the Greathearted. He costs Selesnya 2. Creatures you control have vigilance. He has a +1. You gain 3 life, very typical. And then we have neg 2. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control and a loyalty counter on each other planeswalker you control. So he's going to help you make all of your other planeswalkers bigger. Ravnica at War. A white and 3 for sorcery, exile all multicolored permanents. Everything is gone off the board. I'm trying to think of what you have left. You have in standard there's nothing left. There's nothing left except your monocolored planeswalkers and your monocolored creatures. Then we have the Flux Channeler. 1 blue and 2 of any other. Human Wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, proliferate. So she doesn't help the walker that you're casting then, but if you have any other walkers that are already on the field or anything else you want to proliferate for that matter, she absolutely will help with those. Herald of the Dreadhorde. That's 1 black and 3 of any other. Zombie warrior. When it dies, you amass 2. Pretty straightforward there. It's a 3/2. All right, we have our first land here, our first non-basic land. Interplanar Beacon. Whenever you cast a planeswalker spell, you gain 1 life. You can tap it to add colorless, or you can tap 1 and tap it to add 2 mana of different colors. Spend this mana only to cast planeswalker spells. I really plan on making a Super Friends EDH deck with Atraxa at the helm. I know, so cliche, but honestly, she seems the best when it comes to planeswalkers because of her proliferate ability, but I don't want to be that guy, I guess. I think that's going to turn out to be a really good card. We'll probably see it in a lot of decks. We have the Emergence Zone, which you can tap to add colorless, or tap 1, tap and sack it. You may cast spells this turn as though they had flash. I'm sure that will also come in handy. Then we have No Escape, blue and 2. It's an instant, counter target creature or planeswalker spell. You saw it coming. We all knew it was coming. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. Bye-bye planeswalker, and then you get the added bonus of scrying 1. So we have a 3-drop counter spell that's made easy because it only requires 1 fixed color, and then you get 2 of any other. Going to be countering planeswalkers left and right. Widespread Brutality. All right, we've got red, black 1. It's a sorcery. First you amass 2, then the army that you amassed is going to deal damage equal to its power to each non-army creature. So you can, it looks like, have a pretty effective board wipe if used appropriately. I'm sure I'll see some janky things happen with that. We have Ignite the Beacon, which is some art that we had leaked for us already, and everyone was making guesses as to what they thought the art was referencing. So we have the actual piece here. 1 white, 4 of any other. It's an instant. Search your library for up to 2 Planeswalker cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. This is a want. This for you is also a want. Definitely gonna need to tutor up the Planeswalkers when you need them. And lastly, we're gonna go over Vraska's finisher. 1 black, 2 of any other. When she enters the battlefield, destroy target creature or Planeswalker an opponent controls that was dealt damage this turn. So she kind of has a raid ability. If you look at it, you're gonna want to play her during your main phase 2. That way you have the opportunity to deal damage. Or, I mean, if you're able to ping a Planeswalker, I guess you could play her during main phase 1. But you're going to want to make use of that destroy upon ETB effect. Today's day 1. We have our first video for that. Plan on by Wednesday having a second video. That way I have some quantity. It might be Tuesday because I don't want to have too many cards to do at one time. So yeah, I will check back with you then. Again, go check out that trailer. And if you like what I'm doing here, please do not hesitate to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Everything helps the channel grow. Comment, share, all that good stuff. As always, Vorthon Vorthos.